Is there anybody else alive?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, wrestling fans, and sports entertainment fans, welcome to the No Shave Man Cave, brought to you by the Fantasy Sports Corp and your favorite tag team in the podcast division. I'm Ellie Jair.
I am Jay Tilly.
Dilly. Boo. Dude, what a week we've had. We're seeing our new champions come into their own. We saw a new Undisputed Universal title brought out.
Ugly.
And, man, let's talk about it.
Man, like, so they, like, I heard, you hear all the rumors, it's coming, new title belt. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, let's see what they do. And then it comes out with this mustard yellow looking, like, I understand they were going for a gold look, but it did not come off gold looking at all.
Yeah, it
I
looked
thought
almost
that thing,
brass.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
like tarnished brass too, not
Yeah.
even the good brass.
Yeah, like antiqued.
I mean, I
Yeah.
liked the concept behind it. Like, I liked the details, and I liked that it looked a lot like the WWE belts they have now. So I appreciated that part. I just, man, it looked yellow now. I
Mhm.
thought it was my TV. I was thinking, all right, well, my TV's jacked up. Like, maybe my color's off, whatever. And then I see Twitter just blow up with like the mustard comments and all that. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't just me. It was a really awful looking color.
Yeah, Joey Chestnut is going to show up on 4th of July when he does his Nathan's Hot Dog Championship. And the title will look oddly the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I thought the title, now that he's only going to be coming out with one, I felt like that was a lot better. So I'm good with the title. I thought it was too gold, like it just like, too bronzy.
Right.
But who knows? He'll carry the title if they're going to try and go for the Hogan. He's going to carry it another year. Some of the rumors and innuendo is it's going to be Cody for WrestleMania 40. So we will see that match in person when we are live in person at WrestleMania 40 in the city of brotherly love. And the No Shave Man Cave takes their act on the road to Ton Tavern. We'll be hosting a little shindiggity, I hope. So very cool, man. So
yeah. And you said, what a week in wrestling. And I sat here and go, what were you watching? Because unless it was just, my favorite show, which is AEW, I thought WWE was really rough this week, man.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Monday Night Raw was okay. They still have this confusing SmackDown on Raw and Raw and SmackDown women's title. And and they broke their promise to us on the draft. So, those kind of things sort of, ground my gears a little bit. I thought NXT was really good. And I think the storyline stuff, like you said, AEW near flawless. WWE, they rolled out some titles. They've got Zelina Vega qualified for the Money in the Bank, so that's exciting. And we had L.A. Knight, qualify for Money in the Bank, so I'm stoked for that. So all things are pointing in the right direction for him to start his come up. But Adam Pearce, I feel like Adam Pearce is starting to come into his own with his role. And I need to see more Chelsea Green in the back again, because her like holier than thou meets Karen act, I thought was great. We have a new women's tag team champions with Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, and I'm really hoping that they're going to bring some validity to the women's tag team championships.
Yeah, Shayna recently, I think this weekend or maybe it was earlier in the week, made a comment about how she's tired of the tag team champions being a trivial, like nobody cares about it and doesn't take it seriously, and that her and Ronda want to change that. So,
That's
hey, all the more power to them if they give them a little creative control on it, and are going to let them kind of fight back or like book their opponents and maybe make some story out of this.
Heck yeah.
Tag team could do well. It's just
Yeah.
we're talking they flip flop it so quick and So
yeah, it's like the TNT title over there at AEW. Did you see that concept title I posted on Twitter?
I did.
The backdrop with the globe on it. I thought
Yep.
that was pretty sharp. And the TNT title, I think, is fantastic looking. The TBS title is fantastic looking. Those trios tag team championships, awesome. But yeah, no, I'd like to see the women's tag team championships really rise to prominence. I don't know if, like what Rhonda was saying was the women's division isn't that deep, but if they were to make them, call them merge them with the NXT tag team championships, the women's tag team championships down in NXT, and they're just the women's tag team champions, and they go to all the shows.
Yeah.
And I think that would give them the opportunity to defend those titles every week. And one week they're on Monday, 1 week they're on Tuesday, 1 week they're on Friday, and they start over. Then they're in a pay-per-view. And that Money in the Bank in July, I think, is shaping up to be a really good show, especially with what happened last night on Friday Night SmackDown with, Jimmy and, just on top of what happened at the pay-per-view. Just, I think that's, I'm glad that they didn't just end the story,
right?
That they're just taking it down another road. And man, this is a 4-lane highway that that this show is on. And I'm glad that Sammy and Kevin are away from it now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They can go off and do their own thing while this story is still the focal point. And man, just the directions that they can go. It's really exciting, the attention that they're giving this story. If they were to do like 25% effort on every other story that they've got going on, WWE would, jump off the pages to everyone, and instead of, all right, well, I'm going to wait till Friday because that's when I know I'm going to see Roman. So, sucks.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that frustrates. It's really the only story going on in WWE right now. And we talked about it a little bit on our show, on our own channel during one of the podcasts about, you look at Raw and I can't tell you any of the storylines going on Raw right now, because either they start and stop them or they just don't start them. Like, what's the Judgment Day involved with right now? Okay, a little bit with Rollins. So now we're going to have 3 and 4 if you include Rhea Ripley against Rollins, unless he's going to bring the OC over. And now we're going to see the OC on both shows, which again defeats the draft. There's just all this funkiness that it's just very disorganized and no cohesive storytelling. Like I say, I like it to be episodic TV. The only thing episodic TV wise in all of WWE to me, I'm totally opinionated, is the Bloodline stuff. And then I'm going to pose this question to our listeners and to you. Do you think the Bloodline story would be just as good if Roman didn't have his belts?
Wow, that's a good one. Because, yeah, I mean, so 2 different schools of thought. Like, he's the older sibling of that Anoa'i family, but what makes him the head of the table is him being the world champion, and especially the fact that no one else has carried the world title this long in 40 years. Now, without the titles, yeah, I mean,
so the reason I ask is because
that's a good one.
If you like SmackDown, right? So the Usos come out and we're the ones and he even said, I don't care about the title. You're the head of the table because you're the elder. Like, he said that. So then I'm going, why not just give the flipping belts to Cody, because you could have done Cody's storyline with the belts, would have been a great storyline. You could have done Roman. I don't know. Just going back to that thing that I keep driving on. He didn't need the belts. There was no reason other than we want to break this record to keep the belts on him, and it just frustrates me because to me that's not a booking decision. Like that's let's break a record, not what's good for the company or what's good for business. And I just felt like, personally, that's just my thoughts.
Does it feel like right now that Roman's title run is basically this self-serving prophecy for Vince?
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like this is Vince saying, I told you so. I told you I can make Roman a star, and look how long he's kept this title. And that's exactly what I feel like it's doing. I just feel like it's kind of holding him up, and because he's not really defended it. I just was like, come on, like they could have done this entire storyline without him having the title. Strap Cody up. Cody could have done this whole Brock thing because he beat him. He passed out to him, but they could have made that a non-title match if they wanted to.
Right.
They could have done
that would have been a good angle. Yeah.
Yeah. They could have done all this stuff, and then you continue all the storylines, but you make the fans happy. And to me, you make the better call going forward to having them be there and be live and you know what I mean? Like I think, and I guess the reason I keep bringing it up and talking about it is because I think not strapping Cody up is one of the biggest mistakes WWE's made in a long time.
Yeah, huge swing and miss. And WrestleMania night one was fantastic. The energy was fantastic. The crowd was off the hook. It was 2 nights. You were in SoFi. It was Hollywood. And then night 2 was just like a kick in the nuts for wrestling fans that had invested in finishing the story. And then they come out and WWE basically said, hey, we want you to forget this. Cody doesn't talk about finishing the story. Now he's uber focused on
fighting
Brock. And he's like, hey, Brock, are you satisfied? I know, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I hope Cody's thinking to himself, well, I'm not satisfied because I didn't finish my story. And now I'm in this different storyline until, whatever. So this will, I was hoping he was going to go into Money in the Bank. It doesn't look like that's in the cards. They'll have their rubber match at SummerSlam. I'm sorry, Money in the Bank. And then now what is he doing for SummerSlam? Who's next for Cody? Because now you've got to slap something together to continue on his hard times. And it's just like you said, if he was the champion. So first off, if he had beaten Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins wouldn't be the WWE champion.
Why not?
So they still would have done the third title, do you think?
Yeah, he could have gone to SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then he could have gone to SmackDown and merged them into one title and just been done with it. And then you still do the world title. Or you do the world title and he says, I want this to be the world champion. So he vacates the Universal Championship and they put that on SmackDown, and then you just give it to Rollins and Rollins, because Rollins is not in any major stories on Raw, or you flip, they could have still done it. I think everything could have worked the same if he just had the belt.
Yeah, that would have been strong too. Like, hey, my story the story I wanted to finish was winning the world title, something that my father never held. Here it is, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Hereby, I am vacating the Universal Championship.
Right.
And, there's Triple H saying, all right, final answer. I'm vacating, God bless America and the American Nightmare. Let's take the Universal title over to Monday, and boom. And then, Roman. Yeah.
Yep.
Man, that's reliving this, just like, it's like, damn it.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to open up fresh wounds.
No, it's, what'd you think of Friday, the Waller effect? How did you like how the women came on and were doing the Just like I'm in Money in the Bank. No, I'm gonna win. No, go ahead, keep that energy up all night.
It was stupid. Like, I mean, I would have like when Io Sky came out, I went, yes, this is awesome. And I was excited about that because I think I called it on one of our preview shows. I'm like, oh man, I'd love to see Io Sky versus um Asuka in a title match. So I was like, all right, this is cool.
Oof.
And then she gets interrupted by Bailey. And I'm like, oh. And then she gets interrupted. And I'm just like, oh man. And then what is up with Lacey Evans and this stupid hat and her outfit? I'm just like, man. And then she ends up losing in like the most stupid, I don't know. The whole thing just was frustrating. I understand they're gonna do the push for Selena Vega. I think she might be
Mhm.
the man. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna win the women's Money in the Bank. I mean, granted, we only know Selena Vega in it, but
Mhm.
I would assume they're gonna put Io Sky in it. I would assume they're gonna put Bailey in it so that you get a kind of a Bailey Io Sky standoff at some point, or they both go up, and then that's kind of the beginning of the end. Although I've been saying they're gonna have a beginning and the end for a while. Uh, I'm just, I just, yeah, the whole interruption after, I was just, come on. And then I I did love Grayson Waller going, man, I love America when all these women
I
were
love
coming out.
America. All these girls, go ahead. It's all
Yep.
right. Keep
This was,
going.
that part was good. And then so I thought the Bianca Belair attack on Asuka, it was what it was. It didn't look too brutal. Like it was, eh. However, what I thought was more telling and interesting to how Japanese wrestlers think of title belts more than others. If you watch, Asuka does not let go of that belt. She tries not to let that belt hit the ground. Whereas a lot of you know, the Americanized wrestlers, they'll toss it on the ground and run. And it
Yeah.
drives me nuts. And it's a pet peeve I try to get over because
Yeah.
Moxley does it all the time. You know, Orange Cassidy, actually, no, he throws his bag in and holds the belt. But
Mhm.
I was impressed with Asuka holding that while punching. And then when she dropped it, she got really mad and was like, give me my belt, which could be part of the storyline. But I don't know. It was just like, you could see instinctually, you don't let this hit the ground, you know,
Yeah.
like the American flag. I don't want to drop this. And I thought that was
Yeah.
really cool.
That's a cool point. I didn't even pick up on that. I saw when they gave her the title back, she snatched it back. So I caught that part. So that was pretty sharp. So I think like what you've been talking about, I don't know, probably a month now with Io Sky, and she was fantastic on the
So good.
singles side when she was in NXT, and even before NXT when she was in Noah. Was it Noah or
Yeah, she was in Stardom,
Stardom? Thank you, Stardom.
and I think she was in Noah
Man,
too, but mostly Stardom.
yeah, yeah. I went back and watched probably 20 of her moonsaults. They're all right.
So
Yeah,
backstory to
it
this:
was just
uh,
man.
Jared posted something on the old Twitter about Tiffany Stratton with the best moonsault ever. I don't think so. I think it's actually Io
Yeah.
Sky. So we went back and forth about it, showing each other's clips, and then he does a poll, and sure enough, Io Sky wins.
75% of you thought that Io Sky's moonsault
Moonsault.
was better, and Tiffany Stratton's moonsault is called the prettiest moonsault. So it's the prettiest moon. It's in the name. But no, you guys nailed it, and kudos to all of you for you know uh, nailing what you thought was the best moonsault. And if you're not watching NXT, or you're not catching Impact, or you're not catching Stardom or New Japan or whatever, you owe it to yourself to just if you have Access TV, you can get Impact in New Japan. If you have cable of any form or fashion, you can go to On Demand and just type in, and you can catch all of the different shows. And Stardom, my word, there are some fantastic performers over there, just hard hitting fantastic wrestlers, and their titles are really starting to grow on me. when I saw the first time when I saw the star title,
Yep.
I was like, and now that I've seen it a half a dozen times, I'm like, that's not bad. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah. So, speaking of titles, we're going to unveil something here on the show. Well, you're going to unveil it.
Oh, baby.
Right
I am
live
so
on the
excited.
show. So before we get to that, so we are going to cut the probably WWE talk a little early, like, we're about 10 minutes early, which is fine because I want to show off what you've got. Before we do that, though, what rankings did you give? Heck, let's go all the way back to Night of Champions because I don't think we've been on here since Night of Champions. So we'll do Night of Champions, Raw, and then wait, Night of Champions was last weekend? Yeah, I think it was. Man, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of
Yeah.
Night of Champions, Raw, and then SmackDown. What'd you give all three?
Night of Champions, I gave it 3.5 beards. I enjoyed the show. It was really strong. I like seeing title changes. I like hard-hitting matches. Everybody delivered. Shout out to the boys and girls in the back. Very, very strong. To Monday night, there was some good, there was some bad, there was some ugly, and I think I gave it 2.5 beards. There were a couple of elements that I was really close because you saw new tag team champions crowned, and I like title changes, but I gave it 2.5. And then Friday, unfortunately, although we got the new title, I'm a big title fan. I gave it 2.5 beards because it just was not. There was not a whole lot, which you usually don't hear with Friday night.
Yep.
And anytime you have the tribal chief, you have the Adam Pearce in the back making matches, making moves. It just kind of fell kind of flat.
Yeah, I did 3.5 for the old Night of Champions. Thought it was great. Thought the storyline, the bloodline stuff was awesome. I think I gave 2 to Raw, very boring, kind of, and to be honest with you, 2 to SmackDown. If it was just bloodline stuff, you're looking at 3.5, 4 stars almost all the time. But because we had a 2-hour show, I think there were 3 or 4 matches on it. And the filler in between, like I didn't need to see everything about Rollins again. I didn't need to see everything about his 1,000 days as a champion. Like, yes, it was a celebration, and even the celebration wasn't. There was no streamers, no fireworks. It was just him coming out and getting into the Usos. So, yeah, I was disappointed a little bit in WWE this week. And I hate to think that old Vinnie Mac is getting his fingers in it, but it sure feels like it. Like I feel like there was one week where he wasn't, and that was the one we talked about. I'm like, man, that was a very thoughtful, very powerful Raw. And then I just feel like after that, he went, oh, that was too good. I don't like it. Let's start changing stuff. Put AJ Styles on. Let's pretend the draft didn't happen. So, a little disappointing. But what's not going to be disappointing is what you're about to show us.
All right. So, as the No Shave Man Cave, we came up with this idea. What originally was going to be vintage championship wrestling on this wild idea I had. Jay Tilley goes, no, man, we're going to call it Veterans Championship Wrestling because Jay Tilley and I very proud of our military service, him, Air Force veteran, and me being a retired Marine. And so we are part of the Veterans Championship Wrestling, and our show, the No Shave Man Cave, is because these glorious beards that we have. Yours is looking great, by the way. Kudos to your
Had it trimmed
your
up.
barber.
Brittany,
looks
shout
nice.
out.
Yeah. Shout out to the shout out. Another quick shout out before we do the unveiling. My guy Otto in Jacksonville. Everybody stopped what they were doing when I walked in to get some Petro and some drinks and stuff. And I mentioned we were part of the No Shave Man Cave, and they were like, "That is the coolest effing name I've ever heard." I'm like, "Well, I really appreciate it. You know, we're very proud of it." And so shout out to Otto and everyone there in J. Actionville, Florida. So we have.
He's like a little kid, by the way. In Christmas, he's been texting and calling me since yesterday, wanting to do a reveal. So I said, "Hey, let's do it on the live show."
Yeah. So we are here in the cave, and I am opening up a title belt, and this is something that I am very, very excited about. We've talked about doing this for over a year, and we will be taking this belt title to our shows that we do or we attend, getting autographs, and potentially raffling this baby off down the road, because annually the plan is that we are going to come out with a new title belt. So next year's title belt, the theme will be No Shave Man Cave. Oh man. Sheesh.
Ooh, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen. So the title has our branches of service. I am holding this baby, and it doesn't stink, which is really cool. Like the leather dye, it doesn't smell like chemicals. So you've got the United States Army, the United States Marine Corps, the middle plate with the golden eagle standing on top of the American flag with the globe over the top. And it says Veterans Championship Wrestling on the bottom. Air Force plate for Jay Tilley's Air Force. Air power, aim high. Thank you. And then the world's greatest Navy there. And there she is, the No Shave Man Cave Veterans Championship title.
Cool. Man, that thing looks sharp. Oh, that is nice. And yeah, like you said, we're gonna take it to some cons and try to get everybody we can to sign it, and then hopefully we'll raffle it off.
We are the champions.
It's nice looking.
World.
You've been dying. Yeah, you've been like a little kid.
Oh my god!
And then to the point
So
where like
excited.
I didn't answer a text. He calls me. Are you okay, man? You're not answering my text. I want to open this.
Everything okay?
I was like, yeah, man, my phone's just on mute. I'm playing Diablo 4. What's up? So awesome, man. I am excited. We got River City WrestleCon right around the corner. Originally, we were only going to get veterans or wrestlers that were veterans to sign it. But I think we just get everybody to sign it. Whatever,
Yeah,
whoever, wherever, AEW, WWE, independent. And then, like you said, down the road, we'll maybe when we get to like a threshold, we'll auction it off to 1,000. Like when we get 1,000 viewers or something like that, we'll auction it off to those first 1,000, or we'll start a raffle. We'll figure out something to do with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, awesome.
Hell
awesome.
Yeah.
So who created that belt?
Thank you. A crew. The team was named None out of Manassas, Virginia. So really appreciate them up in the triangle in the NCR, National Capital Region. So kudos to the team over there. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. So very, very proud of it. Very happy. It'll find a home here in the cave and over where Jay Tilley is dug in over there. So really cool.
Yeah. We'll drop a link on Twitter to their website if we can. But I wanted to specifically say that because obviously Pro-Am Belts is part of the Fantasy Sports Corporation. Just want to make sure that everybody understands they did not make this one. However, they do make some great belts, and we will reach out to them to make some for our fantasy league. Speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and pay those bills, and we're going to come back and hit you guys up with some AEW talk. All right, time for those bills. And we are back.
And we're back.
Shout out to the Pro-Am Belts. Like I said, we're going to be reaching out to them. We're going to do a couple fantasy leagues on the No Shave Man Cave and our other job. And we're going to reach out to them, maybe get a belt made. So shout out to those guys. Appreciate them sponsoring our show for sure. With that, let's transition to what I love to talk about. AEW, baby.
Whew.
We had almost perfect Dynamite, and probably some of the best wrestling collectively, the show on Rampage, probably since that show's come out. Like, what the hell, man? Tony Khan just decided to go, huh, Rampage, maybe we should put some stuff on it, because what a week in AEW.
Yeah.
From Double or Nothing, which is kind of getting mixed reviews. You get some people saying it's the worst AEW pay-per-view ever. I disagree. I thought it was decent. I wouldn't say the worst. There was worse out there for sure. The crowd didn't help the fact, because from if anybody that watched it, you kind of got the feeling like, man, this crowd it's like I made the joke, it's the New Japan clap crowd going on. And it was kind of odd in that aspect. However, it's weird because people are talking about how it was such a bad show, but it had probably the best battle royal I've ever seen.
Oh,
It had
hands down.
probably, the best ever 4-way match I've ever seen. One of the best ladder matches I've seen. And then Anarchy in the Arena, which was insane. So 4 of the 7 matches on there, people are talking about top tier, 5-star, best of the best. Yet the overall feeling is Double or Nothing was, eh. So it's interesting. I thought Double or Nothing was good. I think when we did our review, I gave it 4, maybe 3.5 or 4, because it wasn't top tier, but I didn't think it was as stinky poo poo as everybody else said it was.
Yeah, and I gave it to 4, and I thought
Yeah.
it was, man, all of the matches made sense. Everything flowed. It was, I mean, it's almost like, I don't I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but AEW has set such a high bar from themselves that if they do a really good show, it's a stinker, instead of, dude, this was a great show.
Yep.
Well, it's AEW. So the referees were great. The matches were great. The way they put the show together and the sequence of the matches, nothing was outside the ring for too long. There wasn't like weird stuff going on. Commentary was great. And, really it all boiled down to the crowd.
Yep.
And the crowd on the 31st, dude.
If that crowd on the 31st,
San Diego, bro. Oh, man.
if you'd had that
they-
crowd at Double or Nothing, people would have been talking about Double or Nothing as probably the best pay-per-view ever. And it's funny because I used to.
I don't disagree.
100%.
Yeah.
It's so weird because you used to talk crowd, and I always be like, man, what are you talking about? Crowds don't make that big of a deal. They do, because Double or Nothing, like you said, had all this great stuff on it, but it was just kind of, eh. Now, I will give some of the criticism that they got. I'll agree with that. Like, almost every match had shenanigans in it, something funky going on, people getting interfered, people outside the ring. 100% agree. A lot of people were mad about the Toni Storm win. Understand that too. Like, you kind of did her a little wrong. Jamie Hayter that way. However, news has come out that that's how she wanted to do it. She wanted to go out and, even being injured, to lose it to Toni Storm, not just vacate it. So shout out. Like, that's awesome. So like, you look at all that stuff, and I think if that San Diego crowd was in Vegas, we'd be having a different conversation about Double or Nothing. I really do.
Yeah.
Because
I watched,
they were hot.
Yeah. I watched the Wednesday show back again this morning, and I didn't even catch freaking Excalibur's mask the first time with the San Diego, the old
I didn't catch it either.
Like the Friar look with the orange or yellow and brown look. That mask was sharp. He had the big SD in the middle. So shout out to whoever hooked Excalibur up with that mask, because like the touch, I thought it was really cool. And I went back, and while I was watching it, I saw Taz's reaction to CM Punk coming on, and he had this, like, his eyes got kind of big, his tongue was sort of sticking out, like sort of a I'm surprised, not surprised. So I like how AEW holds a few things close to the chest, because now you're getting real reactions, and a mixed crowd on CM Punk coming back. It is.
But San Diego is elite territory, right? So
That's true.
You look at the Young Bucks are right from there. So, of course, it's going to be a little mix. If they had made an announcement in Chicago or anywhere on the East Coast, there'd probably been a louder pop for Punk, but that's kind of a elite hometown. So I could see, I understood why. And I think his reaction coming out is going to be interesting too, because, well, obviously if it comes out in Chicago, it's going to be a huge pop. But, the story that everybody kind of knows is going to be interesting how all that plays out for sure.
Yeah. That crowd though, like we keep going on and on about it. It was fantastic. They were in the San Diego State University arena, so it was just so awesome. You got some really good matches. The first match of the night was worth the price of admission, and everything else in that show was just icing on the cake. Plus, you got Ring of Honor and Rampage, and then there was another taping. I'm not sure if it was like a second Ring of Honor taping, but there was so much wrestling in that show. It was fantastic. Bandito with that awesome suplex, and
it was like a minute.
It was so much fun. Yeah, it was. For the fans that didn't see, he had his opponent in a vertical. He had him up so his head was down, and Bandito was holding him up, and he was kind of dancing around, and he held him up for about a minute before he suplexed him. So all the blood had rushed to his head, and just a show of strength and a lot of fun, and only to see Wheeler Yuta get the pin,
another pin.
Whew, so
talk about a guy getting pushed and built up to the moon. So he has his match last week that pisses off Danielson, who smacks him in the face and says he made him do crab crawls or whatever up in the Red Rock Mountains to go to Double or Nothing. He kicks out of the buckshot lariat. He gets out of the one-winged angel pin, and he pins Kenny Omega. Yes, shenanigans about some of those. However, it still happened. And he can still say, I pinned Kenny Omega. So good stuff, man. And that's not something a lot of people can say, is that they pinned Kenny Omega, and definitely not got out of the one-winged angel.
Yeah, that's one of those protected moves.
There's only one person that has ever kicked out of it. Free and clear kicked out of it, and that was Okada. So, yes, we understand it got broken up, but still, he got out of it. Most people don't. Usually the one-winged angel means it's the end. What's interesting about this Dynamite, like you said, there was some really good wrestling on it, but if you look at the overall Dynamite, it had a lot more talking segments than we're used to from an AEW show.
Yeah.
However, they all made sense. They all flowed really well. And you took a lot of the stories from Double or Nothing. Some of them ended, so the stories are done. But you flowed into some of the other stuff and opened up more doors.
Right.
And the Don Callis, booze, and promo, I thought Dom got some heat going into WWE. Holy cow.
Dude.
Can you imagine that dude in Wembley with 70,000 people booing him?
Oh, my God.
I hope he gets the fire level heat and can keep going, because that is fantastic. Like that, man, Cyrus the Virus knows how to make some enemies for sure. Because it was funny. I saw a picture of him recently, or not of him. Well, it was of him, but it was like an older picture, ECW, and it was him as Cyrus the Virus. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot he was that dude with hair.
Yeah.
But
man, yeah, it was, he couldn't, like, he was talking and you could hear him, but the best thing to do would be to turn on subtitles, because the crowd was so loud and they were lighting him up so hard. Woo, man.
And even to the part where he kind of turns to the side and looks at Tony and kind of off mic, on mic says, what am I supposed to do? So he's like playing a victim towards the crowd too. Like, they're booing me so much I can't even talk. It's not fair. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. And then dropping names, some of the name drops, and then Okada coming in there. So then you've got the Elite teasing. Omega's not here, but he's not in Canada. Okay, so he's going to. So when are we getting Ibushi and Okada? They're coming. We can't wait. Juice Robinson and Jay White, huge improvement from when they started a few weeks ago. Absolutely love these two now, and I'm looking forward to their feud with FTR. curious who they're going to bring in as a third, because I have a feeling you're going to get. So I'm prognosticating here. You got Ricky Starks versus Jay White with Juice Robinson and FTR banned from ringside. Cool. So who's going to come out and help Jay White to set up the trios match? Are we going to get another person in Bullet Club Gold show up and set up something for Forbidden Door so we get somebody from the real Bullet Club over? However, with the fact that Finley kicked out Jay White, like that's kind of I don't know how they kind of bridge that gap. But this Wednesday show, top notch, man. One of the best Dynamites I've seen. Absolutely story driven. Even the things that I thought, well, no, I don't even want to say that. Taking the Double or Nothing thing where you had Big Bill showing out like he showed out, Trent doing the sacrifice spot, and then Swerve Strickland. Those three in a match,
dude.
I would have never thought those three in a match would work, but what the fuck? That was such a good match. I was like,
yeah,
this is amazing. And you get Swerve, now he's going against Cassidy. Can't wait for that.
Oh man, that is going to be a hot match. Very, very hot. Great. Oof.
Next week. And I'm kind of worried. I think Orange might lose this one, even though I said it might be Jay White. I think they're pushing Jay White into a tag team, which is cool. And I could see Swerve maybe taking this off of Orange.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you would essentially, so what they're looking to do over at AEW is make that international title the face of Collision. So in turn, you're going to make Swerve the face of Collision. I hope he can. I mean, he has pretty decent reach. He's got a really good podcast. He's in music. He does some film work as well. But man, Cassidy is really, really moving the needle right now. But yeah, we'll see what comes with that, and I wouldn't be mad at that at all. But yeah, we'll see.
Maybe not this match. Maybe this match ends with disqualification or shenanigans or something. But I think eventually Swerve could be the one to take it from him. I mean, why not?
Why not?
He does. Those two interaction was amazing. So I think whatever match they put on is gonna be great. And if he's not, cool. Like let Orange Cassidy be the face of Collision for a while. And maybe you get CM Punk versus Orange Cassidy, and Punk's the one who takes that title from him. Nothing wrong with that either. Like, talk about boosting the dude up. Wow. So, but that spoiler that leads into Tony Khan's big announcement, which was CM Punk coming back to do the United Center, which I think we all know. But if you're listening to us, you know this is a weekly recap. So if you didn't want spoilers, watch that and then come watch us. But yep, and then the main event on Dynamite totally made up for the stinker of a match I thought they had at Double or Nothing, because I thought the Double or Nothing match, I don't even know what to say about it. It started hot and then just kind of fizzled out. Like, it reminded me of like when you drop an Alka-Seltzer, bubbles up and it's awesome, and then it just kind of goes to nothing. Or you leave a Coke open and it's all fizzy and then goes away, because that stuff was Sabu and then all the extra stuff was great. Then they got in a match and got sluggish and slow, and I don't know, maybe somebody was cramping up. Maybe I don't know what the deal was, but they had that tag match with Britt Baker and Saraya and Jericho and Cole. Great stuff. Absolutely fantastic. It felt like a blood feud then. So really good job to them. Yeah, Dynamite, really good show. I gave it 4.5 beards on that one. Really love that one. It was near perfect.
Absolutely. Great show, great flow. Commentary as usual was fantastic. The announcement with Punk and the sort of, I don't even think it was 50-50. And like you said, you're on the West Coast, you're in elite country. So, I definitely thought that this show absolutely delivered and gave it 4 beards, and far and away, outside of the pay-per-views, was my show of the week. I thought it was, it was really, really good. Chiseled, ready to go. Thunder Rosa, her comment in the commercial was, I'm stronger than ever. So, she has an argument that she never lost the title.
Yep.
So this could be something, and I love the fact that Tony Storm won the women's championship, and you're not going to hear interim anything. And Hayter's dealing with a back injury. So awesome for her to risk herself to go out the right way and lose the title instead of vacating it. So
Yep.
yeah, awesome.
One thing I did want to mention that I forgot to mention just now was, and I don't know if you caught it, and I don't think I talked about it when we did our review of Thursday or Wednesday night, but did you catch the Jungle Boy Hook stuff? So Jungle Boy comes to the ring with the chair to save Hook from, I don't remember who was out there attacking him, but yeah, I'm not even going to try to say the name. Preston Vance and Duralistico. I forgot the name of the thing, but so we keep teasing this Jungle Boy. He's going to turn. He's not going to turn. He's going to turn. He's not going to turn. So he gets to the ring. He chases them off, but he's still holding that chair, and he's behind Hook. And I swear for a minute there, I was like, he's about to hit Hook. Oh, he didn't. He's about to hit Hook. And there were 2 instances on this show where I was just like, okay, we're about to see the turn, because I think we're leading up to the Acclaim turning on Billy Gunn. And I thought for sure we were going to see it there. I'm like, all right, the Acclaim, they're going to get, no, they didn't do it. Okay. But like that on the edge of your seat, like, oh God, when's it coming? Oh, they didn't do it yet. And I thought about that with Hook. And then we didn't even mention the Nyla Rose, Chris Statlander match, which was phenomenal too. So, but then we go into Rampage. Dude, talk about, first of all, I don't know that it's ever happened where you've got 3, 4 different brands defending their titles. You had AAA in that Vikingo Commander, or whatever he's going by, and Jalisco match. So you had the AAA Mega Championship match, which was lucha, right? There was some goofiness with the jumping around at the beginning, like their training drills. Whatever, I could forgive that because the rest of the match was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And then you had the Ring of Honor Pure Champion in the main event with Shibata and Lee Moriarty. Fantastic. You had Zack Sabre Jr. out there with the New Japan TV title, which has got some really interesting rules I didn't realize, which is the 15-minute. And then if there's a draw, it's a coin flip to see who wins. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And then we had the New Japan Strong title, women's title, with so awesome to see 4 different, none of them were AEW. I mean, technically Ring of Honor, but really good stuff. If you haven't seen Rampage, and I was watching it with Amy, and she's not a big wrestling fan at all, but even she was like, we were watching the Shibata match, and she's like, this is such a different style than what the other match was. I'm like, yeah. You start off with the luchadors who don't ever spend more than 30 seconds touching the ground with their feet, to the Zack Sabre Jr. match, which was a submission clinic, to the Pure match, which is rope breaks and all that other stuff. Completely huge variety on this show for anybody who wants to watch wrestling. If you're not into high-flying luchadors, skip it. Go watch Shibata do some strong style with Lee Moriarty. But yeah, really, really good stuff.
Yeah, the fact that you can get a roster, not only the AEW roster, the Ring of Honor roster, the cooperation with AAA and New Japan, and seeing Zack Sabre Jr. on TV a lot more is really cool. I remember him, it was probably 5-6 years ago when he was just kind of getting started, and he still had some chops, he could still go. But to see him now in his ring work and his promo style, it's really cool to see, all the hard work that they're putting in, and he should be very, very proud of what he's doing. And that TV title, probably the most interesting looking title of all of our titles that we've got out there. So it's
funny. It came on and I'm like, I don't know if I like this or don't like this.
Yeah. You're like,
because I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, because I almost went, oh, I want that. And then I went, do I really want that? And then I went, I like that. Do I really like that? It's a very interesting title for sure. Yeah. Very different from anything else that they have. And then I think the New Japan women's title, although petite looking, I think it's a nice looking title. Like I like
Beautiful,
the
yeah.
purple strap. I just think the plates probably could be a little bigger. However,
Yeah.
I don't want to make this the wrong way, but it was technically made from Monet and they put it on Willow, two different body types. So that
Yeah.
might be why it kind of looks a little petite.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I love the fact that Willow Nightingale got that call in the ring to take those title. And I love that Mercedes Monet is being mentioned on AEW now too. So I'm like, okay. And there was an interview with Tony Khan that I think Fightful reported on.
Exciting.
And if it wasn't Fightful, I apologize, whoever it was. But they mentioned that Tony Khan said only him and Mercedes knew what the plan was for Mercedes. So obviously they were working something out because he had an idea for it. Another thing I want to touch on and mention that AEW is doing this year that I felt lacked last year was a build for Forbidden Door. So last year we didn't get a whole lot of New Japan guys showing up. There was, and knock on wood, it's going to shake my camera, but I'm going to do it anyway, that this Forbidden Door doesn't get hit with all the injury bugs the last one did. Because the last one we got that, man, like Ishii went out, like all these people got injured. So hopefully we don't see that this time. But it feels like, to me, they're building stuff for this Forbidden Door. I almost think the blood and guts between the BCC and the Elite is going to happen at Forbidden Door. I
Ooh.
think there's a possibility you'll get Will Ospreay as the other person with Don Callis. So you'll have Will Ospreay, Takeshita, Danielson, unless they pull Danielson to work Zack Sabre Jr., which I can see that because he wants to work him. But if not, they could always do that on AEW later because Zack Sabre Jr.'s in Ring of Honor now anyway. But so you got Takeshita, Will Ospreay, Moxley, Yuta, Claudio, and then you put Danielson in there. So there's their 6 versus Okada, Ibushi, and then the Elite. So there's those 6, the Young Bucks and Kenny. What a blood and guts match that'll be.
Dude.
And if
Okada.
they put that on Forbidden Door, good stuff.
Bro. Yeah,
Good
I
stuff.
hope that would I would hope that would be the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not really going to put any of the titles up. Well,
Right.
they did last year. Last year, I think the New Japan TV title was up, and the US. So they might put some.
Yeah, that's true.
And Omega is still the holder of the New Japan US title, isn't he?
Right. Yeah,
So,
they're going through their tournament to determine who the number 1 contender is. So they've almost made the turn, or gotten to the end of the tournament. So we'll
I
know
bet
here
blood
shortly.
and guts won't happen there. Then I imagine Forbidden Door will be the winner of that tournament versus Omega. You'll see Zack Sabre Jr. versus Brian Danielson, and then maybe we'll get like Okada and Ibushi versus Claudio and Moxley, or Yuta and Moxley, and then maybe you'll get Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy for the international super duper travel the world title. I don't know. Be some interesting stuff, but I appreciate that they're trying to build towards it, and it feels like they're building towards it for sure.
And the fact that they're building anything, just like WrestleMania 1, it was just like, well, why are these guys having a match? Well, I don't know. This guy's new to the territory. Vinnie Mac was going around buying everybody's contracts so he could get enough wrestlers to fill this show with, fill the show with, enough wrestlers and fill Madison Square Garden without Bruno Sammartino and, superstar Billy Graham. And then, not that the show wasn't great, but like you said, there wasn't any like long-term storytelling involved. It was just, hey, I'm going to put my number 3 guy against your number 3 guy, and we'll flip a coin who wins, because the 12 matches, I get 6 wins, you get 6 wins, and that's probably how it went. But I mean, I'm sure there was more to it, but yeah, it was a great show. And even this was probably the best Rampage, and the numbers for Wednesday night, that was the highest numbers that they've had in 2022, or I'm sorry, 2023. So kudos to them. And I don't know what the numbers are for Rampage, but it was absolutely the best Rampage that we've seen. I don't want to say ever, but in a long, long time. So great job to AEW, and kudos to Tony for keeping his head, above the above the pencil, because he's booking a lot of wrestling especially with all the stuff going on behind the scenes with the Forbidden Door, with Collision, with just finished up All In, and now you're getting, or I'm sorry, Double or Nothing, and you're getting ready to travel across the pond, and
Not to mention the
yeah,
Jaguars, Fulham.
yeah,
He has his own data analyst company he runs. Like that dude, I don't know when he's got time to sleep. I edit and do a podcast with you and work at Amazon full time, and I don't have enough time to sleep. Like I can't imagine all the crap he's doing.
yeah, man.
Yeah, it was
kudos to him.
Fantastic Rampage. I gave it three beards on that. I didn't go 4 because there wasn't a whole lot of storytelling moving. It was just a good wrestling show, a lot of good wrestling. I agree. I thought it was probably one of the better Rampages as far as in-ring stuff. I absolutely am intrigued by Aubrey Edwards stepping in the ring for the first time versus Karen Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett, and with Mark Briscoe as our partner. Interesting to see that. So, yeah, that's not something we usually like. Yeah, there's some long-term storytelling there too, because every match that Jeff Jarrett thought he was going to win, Aubrey was the referee on, and he says doesn't count enough. So her getting blasted at the pay-per-view led into that story, which leads into this. So very interesting to see. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm curious how that's going to go on Wednesday.
Yeah, it was definitely something, and kudos to the whole entire crew. I don't know how the roster is going to get split up, and I'm gonna try not to worry my pretty little head about the politics, who's on Collision and who's on Dynamite. I'm excited because we get a little more wrestling, but at the same time, I'm like, shit, another 2 hours of wrestling, and it's a lot. So hopefully we can get enough folks on the TV, get enough folks in the ring, nobody's getting hurt, and we can have some entertaining and enjoyable wrestling on Saturday night. So
yeah, I think it's going to be a good show. I mean, at first I was like, oh, this roster split, I don't like the idea of that. But then I started thinking, I'm like, I'm okay with it because there are people I don't see much, which I'm okay with seeing more of. Like we haven't seen Miro, Andrade, a lot of those. So I'm excited to see that. And speaking of seeing things, we appreciate everybody seeing us here on YouTube on the Fantasy Sports Corporation's channel. Love you guys. Love all the support we're getting. If you don't want to just see us on Saturdays, come check us out on our show, No Shave Man Cave, YouTube and Rumble. We go live every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 to 8 o'clock. Appreciate those people tuning in, seeing us. Love the interact with the fans. If you're watching, comment. I like to reach out and talk. So if you see me turning my head and looking, that's because I'm trying to interact with the fans that reach out. Appreciate everything. Follow us, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, Instagram, No Shave Man Cave. You know where to find us. Listen to our podcast in audio version just to hear our beautiful voices. You don't have to look at the ugly mugs. Anywhere you get your podcast from. We appreciate everybody. We're up to like almost 200 5-star ratings, by the way, on Apple last time I looked. So appreciate all the love. About 40,000 downloads. And we're attempting to get a show out every day. Some stuff going on in personal lives right now that has delayed some of it. So we apologize to our fans. We will at least get a Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday show out. We'll try to get some more, but we won't get into the personal lives. Someday down the road, we'll give you guys that story. But appreciate everything. And it's time for the hot tag, brother. Take them out for the closure.
Bump and feed. Thank you so much to all of our fans. I love you. And we got to keep doing this every Saturday night here at the Fantasy Sports Corp. Like, follow, subscribe, check us out on the Rumble, and do what you do. Make sure you keep following us. So until next time, friends, fam, keep doing what you're doing. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll see you on the floor.